Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. Got videos today from Alexander Grace.
One of the reasons moms get so mad at their partners when they're sick with a man cold is because that partner feels entitled to rest and recuperation. Whereas when the
That's what you usually do when you're sick.
mother is sick, she gets nothing. No rest, no naps, no time to recoup, no time to go see a doctor. They just keep going. They take care of the kids. They take care of their partner. They keep showing up to work, right? This is where the frustration comes from. My husband...
Women don't show up to work when they're discomfort because of their period. What are you talking about?
And I had a fight, 6 months ago because he got sick. Every single time the kids got sick this winter, he was sick and he was napping on the couch and he was sleeping in late and whatever it is. And he's like, "You're mad at me for being sick." And I had to say, I'm not mad at you for being sick. I'm mad that you get the luxury of getting better.
You are a bad wife. And you are also a bad mother for treating your husband like this. What
crazy.
kind of example are you setting? Your husband deserves better. Your kids deserve better. A quality woman supports her man when he's ill. A toxic woman sees her husband being sick, but somehow she's still the victim. But in addition to being awful, you're just wrong, factually wrong. When she said, unlike men, women have no time to go to the doctor, that's a lie. Women actually go to the doctor more than men. And don't tell me it's because women have unique reproductive issues that require medical attention, because the research has already accounted for that. Do you see that purple line at the top there? That's how many times women go to see the doctor. And then you see those dark purple triangles down at the bottom. That's how often men are going to see the doctor. And the red line in the middle, that's the number of consultations that women have that have nothing to do with reproductive health. So that's that myth debunked. The real reason why women are going to the doctor so often is so that they can get on contraceptives and antidepressant medication. But
makes sense.
We'll get to that later. Right now, I want to focus on your other claim, which is that unlike men, women just power through when they're sick and they still show up to work. Women are strong and stoic and they can't afford to take days off. Again, you're lying.
Women work less and take way more days off, way more sick days, way more vacation days. Statistics prove that. I don't even have to go through statistics to even know that.
In the US, men on average take 140 sick days in their working lifetime, and women take 189. That's a big discrepancy, especially when you consider the fact that men are more likely to have longer careers. In Sweden, they found that women take twice as many sick days as men. And in another study, this one from the UK, they found that women take 50% more sick leave than men do. And so tell me, if men are such babies with their man colds and women are such heroic martyrs who always just tough it out, why are they calling in sick so much more often? I honestly half expected the researchers to blame periods and menstruation for the discrepancy. But no, here's what...
Well, even then. So you can't go to work because you're menstruating. Congratulations, you're a failure as an employee.
The study said women may be better at recognizing problems and going to the doctor for treatment, suggest the researchers. Have you noticed that when it comes to women's health and medical issues, there is never any suggestion that they might be hypochondriacs, that they might be overly anxious, that they could be catastrophizing minor symptoms, medicalizing normal body experiences? You could certainly never suggest that women might enjoy being sick, being victims, getting all that attention. And I'm not saying that they are. If you're sick, go see a doctor and take a day off work. But I do find it interesting to ask the question whether there has ever been a single news article or research paper that has ever been written that explicitly criticizes women for seeking medical attention. Women, why can't you toughen up? Why are you clogging up the system with your made-up problems? No, we don't ever get that. Instead, it's glowing praise about how in touch women are with their own bodies. Women are so self-aware, and they're just better than men are at recognizing early health warning signs.
Yeah, it's funny that we never go the other way of, oh man, men must be tough. They hardly ever go to the doctor. They don't even see the doctor when they have drilled a hole in their hand. They're just bandage that shit up.
Women are smart because they're proactive about their health and they prioritize their well-being. There is seemingly no end to how virtuous women are. If she goes to the doctor, there's nothing but praise and encouragement. But then let's contrast that. Let's ask, what is the message that men get when they're sick.
When my husband is sick, he's been puking all night. Even if he has a cold, for some reason, the rage inside me is such a fiery rage. It makes me so angry. It's so ridiculous that it makes me so angry. So he's been puking all night. So I slept on the couch because he like moans and groans. He's like noisy when he's sick.
He's making noises because he's crying out in physical pain. I'm sorry that's such a bother to you. Sorry it sends you into a fiery rage to see
Crazy.
your husband in
To see another person suffer and then be upset that they're suffering is crazy.
so much pain. That must be really hard for you to deal with. These modern women, they've created this narrative that men are weak babies. They're lazy and they're just getting sick. They're faking it with their man colds because they want attention. Men aren't tough like women. Remember what I always say on this channel, a woman's accusation is her confession. And this narrative is offensive, not just because it's a lie. What makes it distinctly evil is the fact that it is pushing back on the specific area that men need to pay more attention to. This is a graph from a study I found that shows visits to the doctor broken down by age and gender. And look here, look at the men aged 15 to 44. Look at how low their visits to the doctor are when compared to women of the same age. The data tells a very clear story. Young men are not getting the medical attention that they need. So when you listen to these women shaming men about their man colds and about wanting attention for being sick, I want you to keep in mind the actual real context in which these comments are being made, where young men are actually being criminally undertreated for their medical issues. Men need to see the doctor more. This is a crisis, and it's at this point that you think it.
I do admit it. We definitely tend to ignore the doctor a lot, and we should not.
It's appropriate to be pushing this narrative that men are too fragile and too concerned about their health. There's a lot of factors that go into this discrepancy. One of them is the fact that the pharmaceutical and the wellness industries have been exposed for specifically targeting women in their ad campaigns. I explain why that is in part 2 of this video. But I think we all know that there's one reason why men aren't making it to the doctors early enough that we're never going to talk about as a culture. We're never going to acknowledge it because it would go against the narrative they've been so desperate to push onto us. You already know what I'm talking about.
I came downstairs at 1 o'clock in the morning one time, told my wife my stomach hurt really bad, and I think I should go to the hospital. She told me, point blank, quit being a big pussy, you ate too much spaghetti for dinner, go walk around the block. Walked out the door, made it about 30 yards down the street, turned around, came back, crawled back through the front door, reaching for the phone, tell my wife either she was going to take me or I was going to call 911. She winds up taking me, bitching the whole time. I get to the hospital, burst appendix, septic, was in hospital for 3 days. To this day, she's never apologized.
There is no mystery why men don't go to the doctor often enough, why they don't seek the medical attention that they need. Let me tell you something as a fact. As a man in this society, your life is judged to be less valuable than a woman's. That might make you uncomfortable to hear because it sucks to be part of the undervalued demographic, or maybe it offends the values of liberalism that we've been taught, you know, that everybody's equal. We're all the same and everyone's life is considered to have equal value, but it's not true. Men's lives are not considered equal to a woman's, and that's why we're not treated the same. When a woman goes to the doctor and she complains about minor symptoms, she will be taken seriously. They will do follow-ups. They will try and find a diagnosis and a solution. Because when it comes to women, our culture isn't just concerned that she's healthy, it's a priority that she's comfortable. Our culture cares a lot about women's comfort. You're a man. Yes. Do you think that they care about your comfort? If you're a working age man and you turn up to the doctor and you say, these symptoms are making me mildly uncomfortable, do you think that you're going to get the same level of attention and care and follow-up that a woman's going to get? Or
nope. Man up. See you next time.
You're going to be told, it's all good, it's nothing serious, you're still a fit young man, which translates directly to you are still capable of working. You can still contribute to other people's comfort, so get back to it. The mainstream pretends to be baffled as to why men only seem to present themselves to the doctor or to the hospital in the form of emergency room visits. Once something has reached a crisis point, like, how could this happen? Why would this be? I find it interesting that in the emergency room, men are more likely to be given painkillers and women more likely to be sedatives. I covered that in part 2 of this video. But in terms of the explanation, why do men wait until it's a crisis? Of course, the culture is not to blame. No, the blame is on individual men. It's on masculinity. Men are control freaks. You know, they're too scared to face an unknown diagnosis. It's toxic masculinity. It's men, thinking that they should tough it out. It's men being in denial, not wanting to face up to the fact that they're not healthy. Fundamentally, men are just cowards.
I mean, they say all these things that we're too prideful, but then they call us cowards. And it's like, you don't think we're scared of our own lies? You don't think we're scared of certain ailments and certain things that happen to us? Yeah, we're definitely scared too, but we figured we probably can tough it out. We can probably fix some things because medical costs are expensive, and men, we gotta work.
On and on and on. The blaming, the shaming, all the fault lies at men. Men are too proud to accept help. Men are arrogant. Men think that they're invincible. You notice that men are never congratulated with regards to their medical decisions for choosing to be self-reliant. No one ever says good on you for not catastrophizing small issues, or good job for being rational about your medical problems. No, instead the blame flows from 2 different directions. Men are shamed when they seek medical attention, and also when they don't seek medical attention. And if men are
it's just not enough.
being overly stoic with regards to medical decisions, and they've got this tough it out mentality, why exactly should the culture escape blame for that? I mean, are we seriously not going to examine the role that women have played in generating that mentality? I mean, let's return to this. Why are women going to see doctors more often? Well, it's for contraceptives, because they want to have babies, and for antidepressant medication because they can't deal with their emotions. Apparently, women are 1.5 to 3 times more likely to suffer from depression than men. And you hear that and you think, my goodness, that's awful. That's terrible. Women must be suffering so much. It must be so much harder to be a woman than a man. After all, the research here, it doesn't say that women are 1.5 to 3 times more likely to be diagnosed with depression or treated for depression. No, it says that women are 1.5 to 3 times more likely to suffer from depression. And you hear this repeated throughout the media as though it's a fact. Women must be more depressed than men are. Women are struggling, a woman's life is uniquely tough. Men wouldn't understand. But I mean, that's an interesting story to be telling, isn't it? Given that men are actually 4 times more likely to commit suicide. Every 13 minutes, a man takes his own life. In the time that we've been watching this video, some poor bloke has decided he can't handle it anymore. I mean, think about that discrepancy. 4 times more likely than a woman to take his own life. It is one of the largest gender discrepancies that has ever been discovered. And you might think that it would humble the medical establishment and the field of psychology and make them rethink their assumptions about men's mental health. But no, because you see, if we are to focus on the areas where men are struggling and on men's pain and men's suffering, somehow that's going to be taking away from women's issues, and we can't have that. No, apparently the male sex is just 63% less likely to develop depression than women, except that it's obviously not true. Did you know that the criteria for depression was written specifically to match the female presentation? And that if you take into account the ways that depression will manifest in men, anger, risk-taking, substance use, withdrawal, then suddenly the gap in depression rates just magically disappears. It's interesting, isn't it? But keep quiet. Not allowed to talk about that. We can't risk upsetting the monopoly that women have on mental health discussions. Fellas, I made this video because there's a very specific message that I want you to hear, which is that You cannot wait for other people to help you, not if you're a man. It sucks. I'm sorry it is this way, but people are not going to be proactively thinking about taking care of you, even if you're sick. Your life is not considered.
This is why you work hard to have a lot of money, so you can take care of yourself. Have the money to be able to take care of yourself, hire people. You may not have a loved one, but at least you have money.
As valuable as a woman's, but it is. Your life is absolutely as valuable. You are a human. You feel, you live, you suffer, you experience pain. Your life is important and you need to take care of yourself. If you are experiencing any medical symptoms that you are currently avoiding because you don't think you're going to get any sympathy for them, please go and seek treatment now. You probably won't get sympathy, but you will still get treatment. Don't wait for help to come because it might not. If you don't say anything, if you don't do something, maybe nobody's ever going to notice. So you can't wait. You have to take matters into your own hands.
I hate to say it was like that closed mouths don't get fed thing. It's pretty much that, right? You got to open up your mouth and get things done. If you're not going to say anything, nobody's going to know.
Just because the culture doesn't think that you matter does not mean that you need to agree with them. You can treat yourself like you matter. Please take charge of your health. If your doctors are dismissive, find new doctors. Keep asking questions. Keep pushing for answers. You deserve to be healthy and you deserve to be comfortable. There are so many advocacy groups for women with regards to women's health, but there's no equivalent group for men. You have to be your own advocate. And for you guys who have been overlooked or let down by the system, I am really sorry that people did not care about you in the way that you deserve. But please, for the rest of us, let's learn from those tragedies and take care of ourselves.
Shout outs to Alex and shout outs to all the men that care about society, care about other men, care about women. Like, people think that we don't care about society or women because we make videos like this or, we're in this space. No, we care deathly. That's why we make these videos. It's not because we don't care, because if we don't care, then I wouldn't do anything. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that. And catch you guys next time. Ciao.